Hi, everyone, and welcome to the new year. It's a really great time to have a fresh start. And one of the wonderful ways to begin 2025 is by decluttering your life. And in this video, I'm going to guide you through some simple yet effective steps to clear the physical and mental clutter. Hi, my name is Deb, and welcome to Women Reinventing Midlife TV, where we aim to inspire you, the woman over 50, to thrive in a meaningful life that you deeply desire and deserve. Decluttering is a really powerful way to begin the new year. And it's a wonderful way to have a fresh start at any time, whenever you want to begin a new chapter. In an article written in 2019 by Libby Sanders, who is the assistant professor of organizational behavior at Bond University, it states that clutter can affect anxiety levels, can affect our ability to sleep, it can affect our focus and our productivity levels. And it can also trigger coping behaviors like snacking, watching too much TV, maybe even drinking. So I believe that decluttering is a powerful and really important way to have a fresh start. And if we want to create change in any aspect of life, it's a fabulous process to go through. So in this video, I'm going to guide you through 4 ways in which you can clear that physical and mental clutter. Of course, the first way we're going to talk about is through the physical environment, because this seems to be the area that most people focus on when they think about decluttering. So one of the things and one of the problems that come up about decluttering around the physical environment is the emotional attachment that we have to items. And I can totally relate to this myself. So the organization personality, Marie Kondo, says that it's important to let go of anything that doesn't bring us joy. And I certainly agree with that. Another thing that I've heard is that when we hold on to things from the past, then we find it difficult to let go of the past, which means that we're going to find it more challenging to move forward. While I can understand this, and I totally, in a lot of ways, agree with it, it's important to be discerning around this, because if we're looking at things from the past and we don't hold on to things that don't bring us joy, then it's important to consider both of these aspects when we're deciding what it is that we want to move on. Let me give you an example of this. I have a lovely indigo blue dress that I've had for about 32 years. I bought it for my mum's funeral. Now, anyone would think that would have negative emotions attached to it, emotions like sadness. So for me, it's very different. The reason I bought that dress in that color is because my mum loved to see me in that color. That's the reason I bought the dress. So for me, whenever I see that dress hanging in my wardrobe, and it is still hanging in my wardrobe, whenever I see it there, it brings back beautiful, happy memories of my mum, beautiful, happy times I had with my mum. And in a way, it brings me joy, even though I wore it to her funeral. So it's important to be aware of both aspects of this when we're decluttering. So what do we need to be aware of? What else? What are the other practical tips around decluttering? So there are many different areas of your home you can declutter, and I'm sure you've watched lots and lots of videos about this. I recorded a video on this a couple of years ago. So if you want more information around the areas of your home that it's important to physically declutter, then wait until the end of the video and you'll find that video that I recorded 2 years ago that will help you through that process of decluttering the physical environment. So of course it includes all the different areas of your home, your kitchen, all the cupboards in your kitchen, drawers in your kitchen, bathroom is a big one, your bedroom, your clothes drawers, your underwear drawer, linen, lots and lots of different things. Of course, your workspace as well is really important to declutter the workspace at the beginning of each year. In fact, that's something that I probably do 3 or 4 times a year. I really declutter my workspace. It's important because it helps me become a lot more productive, especially things like my computer. I have a heap of stuff that I dump on my desktop because I do a lot of creative work. So it's important for me to regularly clear my desktop, which is something that I do. Once you've cleared the clutter, you don't want the clutter to gather again, do you? So the areas that you've decluttered, they need to be very organized. So I'll give you an example. My pantry, I have everything lined up in my pantry. I have all my sauce bottles lined up. I have all my vinegar bottles in one line. I have all my oil bottles in one line. All my spices are in two baskets, so I can just pull them out and find them straight away. All my dried goods are in jars and they're on the same shelf. My teas, all my different teas and coffees, they're all on the same shelf. So I know exactly where to find them. So it's important that we become really organized. Why do I do that? I'm not OCD. The reason I do that is because it helps me cook a lot more productively. I know exactly where to find things every time. And I tell you what, I know when my partner's been in the pantry because things get moved around. So having everything lined up that way, I know exactly where to put my hand at exactly the right time when I'm cooking a meal. And it helps me cook a meal a lot more productively too. It's the same in my office. Everything that I use regularly is right to hand on my desk here. Everything else is thrown away or filed away. And once each year, I go through everything and throw out things that I don't need to keep anymore. So it's important that we do this in the physical environment. One of my favorite professional organizers, actually probably my most favorite, is Nikki Boyd. Nikki Boyd is from At Home with Nikki, and I've interviewed Nikki a couple of times in my online summits. And if you want to connect with Nikki, she has a fantastic YouTube channel where she gives away a lot of free organizational and decluttering information. And I'll put the link to her YouTube channel in the notes underneath this video. So the second part of life that we can look at is our mental environment. So the quality of our mental chatter can be influenced by our physical environment. So if we've cleared our physical environment and we've decluttered all those areas, our mental chatter is probably going to be naturally different. But the thing is, our unconscious chatter or our self-talk happens in an unconscious way. And it's not until we bring that conscious awareness to it that we have the power to change it. Why do we need to change it? We need to change it because if we have that constant negative background chatter going on, then it can eventually bring us down. So if we want to feel more uplifted, which we need to if we want to change different aspects of our life, then we need to bring awareness to our mental chatter and do what it is that we need to change it. Now, negative self-talk, the habit of focusing on what is that we don't want, focusing on the problems in life, focusing on the negatives in life, is a natural human behavior. It's part of our survival response. And that's why it happens unconsciously. That's why we're not consciously aware of it. So we do need to bring conscious awareness to it to be able to change it. And it is a process. It's not something that happens overnight because it's part of our survival mechanism. So the first thing we need to do in order to do this is probably a great thing to do is to grab a journal and write through this process. So what is your background chatter normally like? Start to bring conscious awareness to it. If it is normally negative, if it is quite negative, what are the negative things that you're often saying to yourself? We tend to have a theme around this. We tend to have something that we do regularly or the way that we look at the world regularly. So have a look at what the theme is around your negative self-talk. What is it that you're normally saying to yourself or saying about your environment around you? Do you have a tendency to focus on the not so great things that are happening around you? Many people do. Or do you have a tendency to be more optimistic and focus on the good things around you? Do you have a tendency to worry about things that might never happen? Or do you trust that everything is going to happen according to the universe's plan, or that you're going to be supported. When you bring conscious awareness to this, then make a firm decision to create some changes around it. Any negative patterns, and if anyone is watching this and they say they don't have any negative thought patterns that happen, maybe you're not looking deeply enough, because most people do. So once you've brought conscious awareness to it, then make a firm decision to actually change it. Write it down in a journal. This is something I do every single day. I write myself a daily intent to focus on the positives in life, to focus on the good things in life. Write it down in your journal. Set yourself an intent. When we do this, it helps bring conscious awareness to it. It's a great way to declutter the negative mental chatter in our heads. Now, one of the easiest ways to help clear the negative mental chatter is to develop a gratitude practice. A gratitude practice helps us look for the good in life. And in my video next week, I'm going to be going through the process of how you can create your own gratitude practice. So I encourage you to tune in for that. Okay, so thirdly, we need to declutter our goals. What do I mean by that? Maybe you've never even written goals. And if you haven't written goals in the past, then it's important that you start writing some goals for yourself. If you have written goals in the past, it's important that those goals are supportive in you living your best life, not writing goals where you're supporting somebody else. It's important that we're writing goals for ourselves and support us in living our best life. Another thing that I've seen people do as well, and I've done this myself as well in the past, is to keep writing goals each year, the same goals, and you're not actually achieving them. Now, it may be that you have some habits that are getting in the way, and so that means that you need to look at your habits. But quite often, when people are bringing goals forward and not achieving them, when we look at them, we find that the goals are actually no longer relevant. What I mean by that is the goals are no longer important. We need to prioritize our goals if we want to achieve them. And if the goals no longer mean anything to us, or they're no longer important, then it becomes difficult to prioritize those goals. So really look at your goals. If you've got some goals that you haven't been achieving, ask yourself, are they relevant? Do they still light me up? Does the thought of achieving them still light me up? Does the thought of living with the result from achieving those goals still light me up? If it doesn't, then they're probably no longer relevant, and it's important for you to just shuffle them away, to throw them away. You can throw them in the bin and start writing goals that are relevant to aspects of life that are important to you. When we write goals around aspects of life that are important to us, what I mean by that is aspects of life that we're already putting time and energy into. When we start doing that, then it becomes more of a priority. It becomes easier to prioritize our goals. And then once you've done that, once you've written goals around aspects of life that are important to you, then prioritize which goal you're going to work on first. And one thing that I do want to add here, at this stage of life, it is important that we prioritize our health goals more than anything else. Why? Because it becomes difficult to live our best life when we're not prioritizing our health. Now, before we go into the fourth way that we can declutter, if you're finding the content helpful so far, please remember to subscribe to this channel, because your subscription is, first of all, free, and it supports me in bringing more information like this to you, more supportive information like this to you. Okay, so the fourth area is to declutter our habits. Now, the first three, the areas that we've looked at so far, is going to give you a hand in this. So decluttering habits is going to be helped a lot by the first three areas that we've talked about so far. But one of the things that I've noticed at the new year is there's a lot of resolutions happening, a lot of goals that are being set that are happening. Things like they're going to stop biting your nails, or you're going to stop snacking, or you're going to stop watching so much TV, or you're going to stop working so hard. Or there might be some new intentions set, like you're going to start eating more fresh foods, you're going to start exercising more, you're going to start having date night with your partner. So I see lots of stoppings and lots of startings, which is really great. But one of the things I notice doesn't happen is the combination of stopping a bad habit and replacing it with a new habit that's very relevant to the one that you're stopping. That's the important part. It needs to be very relevant to the one that you're stopping. When we stop a habit, we're creating a void. There's a space there, right? Where we used to do the habit. And quantum physics says that everything is created from a void. Every single thing is created from a void. Every single thing. So if we stop a habit and we don't replace it with a relevant new habit, that means that void is going to get filled with something else. Either the old habit returns, the one that you're trying to give up, or it gets filled with possibly another bad habit. So it's important, if you want to stop a bad habit, that you first of all think about the new habit that you want to replace it with and make that habit relevant. And the vice versa is true. If you want to start a new habit, then it is important to first of all think about the bad habit that you need to give up to create that space to put the new habit into. I know it sounds really simple, but most people don't know how to do this. They don't know how to do this really well. Let me give you a very, very good example here. So a new habit might be to start exercising every morning, okay? Start exercising every morning. So you might think, okay, the bad habit I'm going to give up is I'm going to stop sleeping in, right? So you need to get up earlier. I'm going to stop sleeping in. Interesting. Another thing that it is important to realize here, for you to get up earlier and stop sleeping in, then it's important to go to bed earlier. Otherwise, you're not going to get enough sleep. So it's important to go to bed earlier, which is another good habit. So what is the bad habit that you need to stop that's going to enable you to get up earlier? And that might be that you need to switch off the TV earlier. Maybe you need to switch off your computer earlier, or stop scrolling through your phone right up until you go to sleep, or you're having difficulty going to sleep, which means that you're sleeping in the morning. So scrolling through your phone, thinking about your sleep habits to make sure that you get a good night's sleep so that you're ready to get up early and get on that bike or go for a walk or go for a swim, whatever form of exercise it is that you want to take up in the morning. And we've already talked about the negative thinking. So negative thinking is a bad habit. So think about the positive thoughts that you want to replace those with. Think about the positive thoughts that you will say to yourself when you start thinking those negative thoughts. It's a great way to think about, okay, if I'm going to stop the negative thinking, what am I going to replace it with, and how am I going to replace it? And of course, as I've already mentioned, there's that gratitude practice video that I'm going to make live next week. So make sure that you look out for that. If you found this content helpful, remember to like the video, remember to share it, remember to subscribe and click that bell for notifications so you don't miss out on the next video that's coming out. Thank you for joining me. Wishing you the most amazing new year, and I'll look forward to connecting with you soon. Lots of love to you. Bye-bye.